So one day my eye starts twitching and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a brain tumor. Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. Oh my gosh. So I don't do anything about it right away. Of course, I'm too busy working. So finally it got to be too much. I went to the doctor and the doctor looked me straight in the eye and he said, this is stress. I'm like, stress? What? What are you talking about?
Hey everyone, it's Anthony with Bucksko Living. Today I have June from Moondog Yoga. June is not only an entrepreneur, she left the corporate world to become a yogi. She's an instructor, she's a mom. She's finding balance everywhere in Quakertown and has her own studio. And we're going to talk to her today about finding balance, learning more about yoga, and what it means to be someone out of the corporate world, taking a chance on yourself and trusting in yourself to become what you really want to be. So June, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
June, we were talking briefly right before recording, and when you were telling me in the beginning, you first off, you were in the corporate world, which was amazing. You were with the Limited, you were with Gap, you went to school for econ and business. How do you tell your parents that I'm going to go do yoga now after all this?
And here's the funny thing, it's actually this drive to succeed in the corporate world that led me to yoga. So I
Nice.
had just finished my MBA and I was going to climb that corporate ladder by hook or by crook. And I was working ungodly hours, traveling, especially when you're in retail, you're traveling all over the place. Sometimes my commute was like an hour and a half, especially if I had to go through the Schuylkill to get to Cherry Hill.
Hmm.
And I was a smoker back then too. And
Oh,
coffee and cigarettes were like my meal, right? So one day my eye starts twitching and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a brain tumor. Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. Oh my gosh. So I don't do anything about it right away. Of course, I'm too busy working. So finally it got to be too much. I went to the doctor and the doctor looked me straight in the eye and he said, this is stress. I'm like, stress? What are you talking about? And that actually led me down to, okay, how do I relieve stress? And I started down this path of yoga where I could barely do it. I would try and stand on one leg and do tree pose and fall all over the place and was like, how? Then I would get anxiety and stress about trying to do yoga to de stress. But I stuck with it. I heard a saying once about even life and yoga practice, and it's never give up, but always let go. So I didn't give up, but I let go of my expectations, so to speak. And then it all gelled in. And I used yoga for a very long time to manage the stress of the corporate world. And then what happened was life happened, right? Things happen. Our division was sold off. And I was like, so and then I had a baby. And then I took 5 steps back in my career. So I went down 5 steps to what I could be full time because I didn't want to lose my benefits because I was carrying the benefits for the family without having to work these hours. So then I would do night shifts and I would work overnights and I would do this. And I woke up one day after doing a night shift. I came home at 6 o'clock in the morning and then my husband left to go to work and I put a video in VHS. That's how long ago. With my son. I'm like, here, let's watch some Disney show, right? I wake up a half an hour later and he has a red marker in his hand all over his body and on our rug. And I was like, yeah, this isn't working. So that's when I decided to, okay, we've got to flip the script. And then I started teaching. So I started teaching at a business school. And I did that for a couple years, had another son, and then said, okay, I'm going to stay home. Stayed home for about 2 years, and then said, okay, what am I going to do? Because both my kids are going to be in school full time. And I thought, I like yoga because I've been practicing, and I know how to run a retail business. So why don't I combine them? And that's kind of how
that,
it happened.
that's awesome. Now, with did you stop? First off, did you stop the 2 pots of coffee and the packs of cigarettes?
I do not smoke anymore. But to be perfectly honest with you, that was more because I became a mom than the yoga. I'm probably down to 4 cups a day.
Wow.
I do half and half now. I do half
Okay.
caffeine, half regular. So I do, and my eyes don't twitch anymore.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you're not twitching anymore. That's good. I used to work 3 jobs, and I understand the same thing. Where I wait tables at night, and then in the morning, 6 o'clock, my boy's mother would walk out, and then I'd have him, and then I'd call my dad, be like, "Hey, I'm about to pass out."
Yeah.
And I understand the stress of
Yeah.
corporate. You're probably jitters all the time. That's what your eye was twitching for.
Mhm.
Where did yoga was epiphany? What happened? Like, how did that come about?
So then I dabbled in it, right? And then I was practicing for about a year, and then I got pregnant with my first son, and then I had my first son, and then and this happens to a lot of people. Yoga, you go in and out, right? You practice for a while physically, doing the physical practice, right? But the breath work, the breathing and the relaxation honestly never leaves you. Then you catch yourself breathing a shallow breath, or you can feel your tension rise, and that clicks you to relax, take a deep breath. The definition of practicing yoga is one who maintains a peaceful flow of mind. So, technically, and especially not in the West, yoga is way more than just the postures where we go to class. It's about how do I maintain this peaceful flow of mind all the time. So, if you do that or practice that, you're practicing yoga. So, even though I've practiced since 1996, actually doing physical practice, sometimes for months it wouldn't be that. It would be a couple deep breaths in the morning and then I'm off and running. Other times I could get a class in. So when a lot of us say, oh, we've been practicing for X amount of years, that doesn't mean we've gone to a yoga studio 3 times a week, every week for 15 years. Although some do, but it's more about if I know this makes me angry or I know this person annoys me, then how can I manage that to maintain this peace that once I leave them, I will not have, right? Or
Yeah.
driving to work and I run a red light and I almost get into an accident and then I'm like hyperventilating. How can I get back to being calm? That's really practicing yoga. So
Yeah.
you can do it, Wink.
Yeah. I'm gonna need your help because I just spent the weekend with my 2 boys, and they asked me a million questions,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Hey, Dad, one more thing. I'll have to
Right.
learn how to."
Exactly. Exactly.
We're at that age where it's just like the tap,
Yeah.
and I could see my pulse quicken, and on my watch, and everyone's looking at
Right.
your heartbeat, and I try to get it down, and it's very hard to. And the breathing, I don't know anything about the breathing exercises, so you're gonna have to teach me about that.
Okay.
So, what made you go from obviously you're teaching, obviously you were doing adjunct teaching at the college for the part time, just so
Yeah.
that you can keep the benefits, you can keep the hours, so that you can see the kids. What made the switch from econ and business students to yoga students?
So it's funny because one of the things that we talk about or in yoga philosophy is your dharma or your purpose. What is your purpose in life? And we all have certain talents, gifts, and passions, right? There's stuff that you love to do, stuff that I love to do that you're good at, whatever that is. And that is part of your purpose or why we're here, like why we're here on this earth, the purpose of our life. And so as I'm thinking about it, I looked back at it. I always liked to teach. When I was a little girl, my neighbor and I, we used to play school instead of dolls. And we would write up tests for each other and teach each other lessons and grade each other's papers. And so when I was looking back, I'm like, I always liked that. And then in my corporate world, I was always I was always training managers. I was managing managers, training staff. Like I always gravitated. And then, of course, I taught at a business school. So I thought teaching is my jam. And I love to teach. I like yoga. Why not teach yoga? And that kind of. So it was really about I like to teach.
Nice. Was it where you were practicing yoga, like they needed someone, and then you were like, "Hey,
So
I get
here's the
certification"?
no, that's the funny thing. So I'm in Upper Bucks, right?
Yes.
And so this was at least wow, 20 some years ago, right? And so in Upper Bucks, the only place that you could go to practice yoga would be to go up to the Lehigh Valley or down to Doylestown,
Hmm.
which was fine. But then as a stay-at-home mom, then you have this time. You have a half an hour either to Doylestown or half an hour to Allentown, and then you have the class, and then you have to drive back. And back then, I'm going to really date myself, an average class was 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't. We don't have. It's funny how over time we've evolved, and an hour is all people have to give sometimes with their life. So you're talking over 2 hours. So I'm like, we need something here. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to teach. And so I taught in Doylestown. I taught in Red Hill. I taught around Quakertown. I used to teach at Dragonfly in
Hmm.
Doylestown, where I was first a student. And Alexis, who owns the studio, was so wonderful. Once I got certified, she offered me a job. So I started teaching there, and then at Doylestown Fitness Center, and then up around in the Quakertown area at our local Y. And I did that for almost 2.5 years to build a base. And then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, time to pull the plug. And yes, I was very nervous the day I signed my first lease.
It's nerve-wracking. You go from corporate where there's a structure and everything, then
Yeah,
it's, oh shit, it's all on you now.
right.
And you had to have your path laid out for you. Okay, this is my path now. I'm going to go. I look on Broad Street. They need a yoga studio. So that guts to save your life right there. Now, were you the cool teacher too? Now you're saying from 90 minutes, you shrunk it down to an hour. Did you do the same thing with when you were teaching? Because, oh, this is a cool teacher. My lecture's only going to be an hour, not an hour and a half.
I would say if you ask my students, I was tough but fair.
Okay.
So I was tough but
A
fair,
tough
but we
yoga teacher? How's
always
that? Or
had
yeah.
fun. We always had fun. And I still hear for a lot of students. Some of them are in their 40s now, which I'm like, how is that possible? But I still, hear from some of them from time to time. I would say I was fun, except when it came time for the test. No, just kidding.
Yeah. When you first when you first opened this Moondog, you obviously you're accredited. Did it was just you? Was there anyone
It
else that
was
come with you? Or
It was just me, and I was working for a woman at her fitness studio, right? And we originally partnered where she would rent the space to do fitness on some nights. So as a mom with young kids, that really worked for me because then I didn't have to be there that night and I didn't have to work every single day.
nice.
But I set up this schedule for the first year of the amount I could teach because it was just me. And then actually, a woman that I knew who had been a teacher for a long time approached me, and someone else, and then it slowly built. But my very first class, I opened the very first night. I had 13 people. That was it.
That's
13
something.
people, and I was like, wow. And here we are, 16 years later. And we moved to a different space because we outgrew that space. And I have about 20 people on staff now between
Wow.
instructors and massage therapists and front desk staff. Yeah.
That's impressive. And I guess it shows what you guys needed up there in Upper
Yeah.
Buck. And that's a testament to you that you saw a need. You saw a need for not only just healing, but calmness in that area.
Yeah.
And you had the guts to leave the hustle and bustle. And you see the hustle and bustle everywhere. First off, it's what, 2005?
I opened in
Oh,
20.
2010. So
Yeah, I
you first
started
taught you
in 2000.
teaching in 2005. So that you
Yeah.
switched from corporate to teaching in 2005. You open up in 2010. You see the need that, hey, there's nothing else out there. The closest is Doylestown. There is that drawing, and 13 people is pretty impressive. I'd love to have that at some open houses,
Yeah. Yeah.
please. But that's something for a novice like me. I've stepped on the mat once or twice. I don't know any of the different yogas. I know that there's aerial yoga, and I know there's that. First off, we're not going to talk about goat yoga or puppy yoga
Right.
because
Right.
I know that's a whole other.
That's
It's
it.
like a sideshow, correct?
Yeah.
It has its need, but no one's really practicing breathing when they're getting their
Right.
ears gnawed on. I mean,
Exactly.
but I'd probably steal a puppy or a goat if I went. But what can someone like a newbie learn? How do you take us through the process of a new student? Because again, it'd be intimidating for someone walking in on the mat and then going as a, what do I do? How do I
Yeah.
do it? What?
So the key, and here's the interesting thing, the key to all of it is breathing. The key to the health of our nervous system is breathing. The one thing I've learned through all my years of studying, and I still study a lot with my teachers, is our body is this miraculous, intelligent machine. And if we just understand how it's designed to work, it will work so much better, quote unquote, for us. So breath. According to your body, your nose is for breathing and your mouth is for eating.
Okay.
So if you use your mouth to breathe, your body sees it as an emergency situation. Bring on the ambulance. And what a lot of us do is breathe through our mouth.
Hmm.
And so when we breathe through our mouth, we keep our body in a state of stress. So the first thing that any and all of us can do is learn how to breathe in and out through our nose, or what we call diaphragmatic breathing, because you use your diaphragm. So you remember, like when you get upset, your mom or your grandma would say, just take deep breaths, relax. There is so much
No, I'm Italian. I don't know that. But
on both
no, I don't.
sides,
Yeah.
but right,
Yeah.
no, because we can get ramped up, right? But if we can consciously, at any point when you're starting to feel nervous, anxious, or upset, if we just stop for one moment and take 3 breaths in through the nose and out through the nose, and we start to make that our habit and our breathing pattern, then the body will maintain that peaceful flow of mind. So it really starts with the breath. So if you come into a yoga class, or anyone who's just starting, the only thing you really want to worry about is, am I breathing in and out of my nose? Don't worry about where you're placing your foot, or if the person next to you is doing this or doing that. If you focus on your breath, your body and nervous system will relax. You'll be more clear, and you won't even worry as much about what the other person is doing, because you'll feel good. And over time, you move your body in a way that you can move. Because one of the biggest misconceptions is that everyone can do every pose. You may not be able to do certain poses just because the way your bone structure is, or your arms are shorter or longer. So the poses are to get things moving in the body, right? To get blood moving, to get air moving, right? To feel better. Because we sit all the time, right? Think about how long you sit, and then my one teacher calls it water sacks. We're a sack of water. What happens when water sits still all day? It gets stagnant. So you just want to move your body and breathe. And then what we do is link your breath with movement. And now you're on a roll.
Nice.
So
Do
what
you?
you can do is simply breathe in and out of your nose.
I just did that because I'm already nervous about that. Do you break up the classes for, again, novices like me, those that might not have the athletic ability or the age? Their age has, do you break everything down?
Yeah, we have people who come to the studio anywhere from 15 to 85.
Okay.
And especially during the day, we have a lot of our retired people and older population. And 35% of our students are men too. We have everything from chair yoga to what we call back to basics, just learning the basics, to all level, to hot yoga, to power yoga, to aerial yoga. But then we also have restorative yoga and yin yoga. Anybody can do restorative yoga. You literally lay on the floor with bolsters and props, and we ask you to breathe and relax. Like that, restorative yoga is a really good way for anybody to enter.
I'd probably fall asleep. Okay.
And that's
Because,
okay. That's okay.
yeah,
Because a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't fall asleep. If you fall asleep, your nervous system needed it. And my one teacher always says, if you fall asleep during yoga, like during this deep breathing, the quality of that sleep is so much better anyway.
oh, yeah.
Go with it.
I haven't slept for days, so I'm definitely going to go come do that. I took a yoga class in college.
Okay.
Not class, but a session,
Right.
and I did fall asleep in that, and it was the hot yoga. The hot yoga is intense.
That's
What?
amazing that you fell asleep in hot yoga too, because sometimes
I
that
think I
is.
passed out. That's the difference. I think the friends of mine at the time thought it was hysterical, but I think I passed out. But what is the benefit? Again, I know aerial yoga. Obviously, I understand that. A friend of mine practiced that for a while, Krista. What is the benefits between the different ones? Is it just all breathing? Is that what it is? Am I?
The breathing is the cornerstone because what the breathing does is it relaxes the nervous system. And then when the nervous system, so we have two, what's called your autonomic nervous system. We have two switches, if you will, what we call your stress response or fight, flight, or freeze, or rest and digest. And rest and digest means your ability to digest not only your food, the situations you're in, the emotions you're having, the experiences you're having. And medical science has bore this out that when we're in a state of stress, your body, like people who have trouble losing weight, sleep is really important. Getting your body out of state of stress is really important because when you're in a state of stress, your body's not let go of anything because our bodies are the same bodies that we had, not you and I, but when we lived out in the jungle with animals. So when our mind starts to go like that and activates our stress response, your brain doesn't know if there's a tiger that's going to eat you or if you're just thinking stressful thoughts. It doesn't know the difference. It just knows it's getting the signals from your pituitary and hypothalamus that you're in danger. And so when it's in danger, it holds on to sugar and this food that we digest because we need to quick run away from the tiger so we don't get eaten. So, relaxing, breathing, practicing yoga not only helps remove stress, but it also helps with keeping your metabolic digestive system working, maintaining your weight. The more stressed we are, the more we stay in a state of stress. Your body also sends signals to the blood to clot. So when we're running away from that tiger, if we get a tree branch that rips our skin, we don't bleed out. So clotting or the arteries start to build up, and that affects your heart health. So there's so much more to it than just our mental health
Mhm.
that yoga can provide through the vehicle, the simple vehicle of relaxed, natural breathing. And the key is that we notice it, like we start to practice it when you practice yoga. And then when we're standing in the grocery store line or when someone's telling us a story and we're getting anxious because I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do that, we can notice our breath doing something different. And then we get involved. And then we have that agency, which we all need, to move ourselves from this state of stress to this state of rest and digest. And then we can think clearly. So then, being Italian, that I am too, we don't get ourselves in trouble by what shoots out of our mouth. We can take a step, take a couple breaths, and decide, do I really want to say that or do I want to say that in a different
I gotta write that down then
way?
because
Yeah. Well, in our house, we call it the Guido fever. That's where my husband and I, both my grandfathers were full blooded Italians, and
yeah,
my husband's mom was full blooded. So we've got it all.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not yelling. I'm Italian. That's the difference. That's exactly.
Exactly.
I get it. I
Which
mean,
actually helps me as a yoga instructor because my voice is loud.
oh, that's good. Perfect.
Naturally
You don't
loud.
need the microphone. There you go.
It's naturally loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have seen over time, like, I am not the same reactive person I was before I started yoga. Over time, I have found this ability to not, there's still some things that'll send me 0 to 60, but not as many. And it takes me longer to get there. I'm not saying I don't get there. I'm not saying that you'll never be stressed or never be angry or frustrated, right? But you find ways to manage it, so to speak.
Nice.
Yeah. Except when you have
What would
teenagers.
13 and 10?
You're
I
in it,
mean,
Anthony. You're in the thick of it.
oh, it's the best. And yeah, and then girls are starting too. Like hey, I want to talk to this one. Okay, that's
Yeah,
but getting thrown off topic a little bit.
that's okay.
What is building Moondog?
Mhm.
What was one of your biggest challenges in the beginning? Because again, first off, you've seen from 2010 to now, it's been a big change, not only in
Yeah,
Bucks County and Quakertown, but evolving from just you to a
right,
20-person staff. What
right.
has been one of your biggest challenges
So
in the
it's funny.
beginning?
Yeah. When I first opened this studio, we were coming out of the recession and the housing crisis. And I remember my brother-in-law saying to me, "Who opens a business during a recession?" I do. So we had that. So then things were on the upswing, but honestly, living through COVID was tough. It decimated this industry a lot. So like those external factors, but I would say the biggest thing personally was understanding that people come for a while and then they don't, right? And then they come again and they don't. And then a lot of times it's not personal. There's things going on in their lives, right?
Hmm.
And there's so many people who come back after some time or this or that. And I always stuck to, so you don't take it personal, right? And as you like, when you're running your own business, which you are too, right? You can't you can't worry, even though you do. You try to mention, okay, how am I going to pay the rent this month? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You have to, it sounds so weird. You have to trust that you are doing your best, right? Again, you don't give up, but you let go. And so there's some ebbs and flows. And quite honestly, my business background, I think, anchored me because I knew what I was doing in the sense that I knew how to run a business, what works, how business works,
Hmm.
and just continue to ride the storm. But there were many times where you're worried about, how am I going to make payroll? How am I going to? My dad owned his own business too. And I think that also helped me because I grew up with a parent who owned his own business. There were no rose colored glasses.
Nice.
You know, there were
What
no.
did he do?
He owned a company that sold industrial sewing machines and
Oh,
equipment
nice.
to garment factories.
Oh, nice.
So
My
yeah,
dad was in fashion. My dad had a menswear store on Mill Street in Bristol back in the
right,
day.
right,
Fashion's his life, and I have no clue about fashion, obviously.
yeah,
But then he worked in the corporate world too. He the business closed, unfortunately, and then he went into corporate with Jones New York and
yeah,
Nine West. So he learned that background too.
yeah.
So what's more stressful, the corporate world, and I think that's the answer, or running your own business?
Running your own business.
Yeah,
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 because
I
in the
thought so too.
corporate world, like yes, you have numbers, right? And you have objectives and your goals and you're not only do you reaching your goals, right? Or you're encouraging your staff and your team and training them to make their goals. But let's be honest, if you don't make your goals, which I'm not saying that's not what you do, right? You still get paid.
Yeah,
Maybe you just don't get a bonus.
yeah.
But there were times where I didn't pay myself because I had to pay bills, and that was more important. And so I would say owning your own business because in the end, if something doesn't work, you're on
Yep.
the hook.
It's all on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I've always tried to make it, I wanted accessible and I wanted my pricing to be reasonable, right? And here's something, and probably maybe you even heard it from your dad, like whether it was the limited corporation where I worked under division of Victoria's Secret or the Gap, you have some products that you use just to bring them in, right? You're not making, like in the Gap, we weren't making any money on the t-shirts. The money was on the jeans, right? And in lingerie, you weren't making any money on the panties. It was in the bras and the robes, right? So you have to know that, like sometimes you have a class because that's when people can make it. And maybe not a lot of people, but just enough people, right?
Yeah.
So not every class is going to blow the doors off, right? But if you want to service everybody, so you have what you call your cash cows and some that are just breaking even. Of course, you don't want any losing, but you
Sure.
have to find that mix in the general sense of it too.
Yeah, it's like Sam's Club and Costco lose money on the chickens and the hot dogs,
Right.
but it gets them in the door. First
Exactly.
one's free. It's kind of like drug dealing, but yoga.
Right.
So like,
Exactly. Right. Yes.
you get
Come
them on the
try
hook.
this. You'll feel great. I promise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is helping people
Yeah.
instead of hurting people.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. And that was so I found yoga through the stress of my first job. And then my second son, when he was born, had a lot of health problems. And that was stressful. And yoga was always something that was a constant anchor. And I approach it that way. I've gotten so much benefit in my life from it in many aspects that all my goal is to have everyone be able to find that for them. And anytime someone walks in the door, I'm thrilled because you could be spending your time and your money somewhere else, but you're choosing to do this. And so it's our responsibility, everyone in the studio, to help you experience that. We can't, you could sit there and not breathe and we're not going to, you know what I mean? But we want to set it up for you to find it. And if you find it, wonderful.
That's awesome. We'll get back to the podcast in just a second, but I just want to tell you about what I do. I've been a licensed realtor in Bucks County for the past 20 years. I serve Bucks County, Montgomery County, Philadelphia, New Jersey, all over the place. And I also have helped out hundreds of families buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, don't hesitate to call me. Reach out, DM me, whatever you need to do, and let's start working together. All right, now we'll be back to the podcast. You saw Bucks County, you saw Quakertown, you saw that as a need. What drew you to it? What drew you to, this is the place, this is where I'm setting up shop, this is the home for, because you could have went to Doylestown, which is a little bit more populated.
Yeah.
You could have went.
Yeah.
What brought you?
It's so funny you say that too, because the one instructor, she's been with me since the day, since I started, right? And her and I, she was a teacher when I was still a student. And she called me up and said, I hear you're opening a yoga studio. And I said, yeah. She goes, are you crazy? You're opening a yoga studio in Quakertown? Are you sure that's going to fly? I'm like, that's exactly why we need it. And what I found is so I've been living here for 29, it'll be 29 years in July that we moved to Bucks County. And especially in Upper Bucks, in our area, it's either Doylestown or the Lehigh Valley. There's nothing like Quakertown needed, and it's growing and it's definitely becoming in its own right. But there is, quite honestly, there's a lot of disposable income here. There's a lot of families. This is a huge family community, and people move, whether it's from Lower Bucks or New York or New Jersey or down from the Lehigh Valley. And I just saw, I grew up in the Lehigh Valley. And what I saw was I felt Quakertown was like 20 years behind the Lehigh Valley. Like it was this farmland, because I grew up in the Parkland area. Okay. And we were all farmland when I grew up, right? And it developed. And so it was just like this 20-year-old thing that this farmland is being developed. Families are moving in. It's a fabulous community to raise your children in. And so there's parents and moms and even young professionals who everyone's stressed out. So I'm like, everyone can benefit from that.
That's awesome. So what do you think was the biggest change in the past 16 years of Quakertown? And not only is it being built up, more families are coming in, and you're right, coming from New York, they're coming all over. Do you think it's an escapism too, or is it just like a discovery? Oh my God, I didn't even know this was here.
Honestly, I think it was more affordable housing.
True.
Because so Lower Bucks is condensed, right? And then Central Bucks is expensive to live in. So I think that these first-time home buyers are looking for a place where they can get into the market. I wouldn't say the housing market up here now is a wonderful thing. And then also you have in the Haycock area, you have a lot of people coming in who have their second homes from New York City.
Yeah.
Or this home or that home. So you have this divergence, right? And so I think it starts with, where can I settle down? Where can I buy a home? Where can I settle in? And I think that's really what has been the backbone of Upper Bucks for a while.
Now, you built this community with Moondog, 20 staff, which is amazing. But you also do some work. You worked with TRR. Tell us a little bit about that. You're not there, but...
So it's called Trauma and Resiliency Resources, and it's working with veterans. So veterans who had served, who were in country, who struggle with suicide. So whether it's just suicide ideation, which means they think about it, or attempted suicide. Mm-hmm. And we do this thing called Warrior Camp. And the woman, Eva, who started TRR, her and I did our advanced training together up at the Himalayan Institute, and this is her baby and her pet project. And she is a therapist, is her first inclination as a therapist. And so Warrior Camp, the whole goal is Warrior Camp is to take suicide off the table.
That's awesome.
So the warriors come in, and they can get, the VA gives them gives TRR some grants, and we spend an intensive week living and working together. And the three main modalities are EMDR, which is a type of psychotherapy, EMDR, equine therapy, and yoga. Those are the three keystone, and then we added narrative medicine and Native American medicine, and they're long. And we start every day with yoga, we end every day with yoga. And I'm telling you, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do yoga. You should see. We take these men and women at the peak of health, and then they serve for the country, and they come up battered and bruised, right? And so sometimes, and then I would work individually with every single one, and then as a group. And depending on where you were, sometimes it was just breathing exercises, sometimes it was a full yoga practice, and they have a 99% success rate.
Oh,
So
wow.
then when they go home, Eva places them in their community with a therapist, and I give them a little worksheet, a personalized design yoga practice, because I'll say to them, how much time do you realistically have? 10 minutes? Here's a 10-minute practice. And so then they take what they learned in all of it and then take it to their life outside of it. And then we would have a lot of warriors who come back and volunteer because it was so life changing for them. It's a great
That's awesome.
program.
This is Men's Health Month, which is suicides, all the stuff. And I've had friends that have suffered through that, and veterans that have suffered through that. So that's pretty amazing stuff. Do you not only you also teach, and then you do the CE credits with it, which other people know, realtors know. CE credits is continuing education. Do you encourage other teachers to help out veterans like this as well? And
Yeah, so there's two organizations. I'm involved with TRR and then Unite for Her, which
yes,
is for breast, ovarian, uterine cancer. So what I do is, if anyone is interested, like I'll work with them, like our regular instructors, and I'll train them in the modalities and things that I've learned. Right. And then if they want to, like for Unite for Her, then they can go and you have to get certified to do that. And with TRR, you have to do some training because you have to understand what's called military moral injury, and you have to understand how to work with people with traumatic brain injuries. Because when you're working with warriors, some may have traumatic brain injuries, some may have had it and didn't even know it, right? So we approach yoga working with every warrior as if they had it, which there's certain poses and things that you do not do, period,
okay,
end of story with that. Like, for instance, we don't do down dog at all because
okay,
with traumatic brain injury, you wouldn't want the pressure like that, even though it seems innocuous, but you never know.
yeah. You never think about that. That's crazy.
And sometimes I had a concussion in high school, and then I had a traumatic brain injury when I was in country. And so let's just play on the safe side.
Yeah,
And then I've also I have a couple private clients that have had traumatic brain injuries, and I've worked with success rehabilitation with people who've had traumatic brain injuries. So all that, not only training for it, but working over time with this population, you learn a lot. And so I distill that down to the instructors, especially if we do a lot of private lessons. So if someone
nice.
wants to take on a private client, they'll come to me and be like, they have this and this, and then we'll talk about it. We'll go through it, and I'll touch base with them, going back to the old retail. I'll train them. I'll leave them for a while. I'll come back and check on them, that type of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You don't drop off TPS reports, right? No.
No. But I do say LY a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what's the difference when training? Like, in the CE credits, there's 200 hours and then there's 500 hours.
Correct.
Is that every year?
No.
Okay. Thank God.
So in order to teach, you need a 200-hour certification. Now, this is where it gets a little wonky, is so then after that, you become a 500, you can go on and do an additional 300 hours and become a 500-hour certified teacher. The trainings are 200 hours and 300 hours. But the
Okay.
300 hours are really 300 plus 200 give you 500. I don't
Okay.
know why we don't call it 500. And then once you're certified, if you certify yourself through Yoga Alliance, they require you to do CEUs. I forget. I want to say 30 credits in 3 years, something like that, to stay current, which is good because there's so much to learn. Yoga and the whole practice of yoga and the philosophy behind yoga and meditation and all of that is people spend their lives studying it, right? Or lifetime, so to speak. So you can always learn something. You
That's
can
awesome.
always learn something. Even just taking another, if you're a yoga instructor, taking another yoga instructor's class, you can learn something. I love to go what I call field trips and go to different yoga studios and stuff and then someone will do a pose and I'll be like, oh, I totally forgot about that one. Or they go
You
into
learned
it
from
in
there.
a different way. I'm like, I think I'm going to borrow that. There's
Nice.
always something we can learn.
Do you go around Bucks County to sneak in? Do you
Mhm.
really?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't sneak too much because when they ask my
They all know
email
you.
address, it's Moondog Yoga. But yeah, I do. I like to go around and I like to just take classes. Like when I go down to the beach to Stone Harbor or Avalon or Wild, whatever, I'll always go to a yoga class. And that I just, yeah, it's nice to be a student.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as a realtor, we wait till the last minute to do our CE credits.
Right.
And is that something that yogis do? Is the same
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not just us. Okay.
No, no, yeah. They'll have a run like, oh, so what? Because as someone who can do CU, sometimes I'll just do it I could do it for the staff. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about doing that in the winter because everyone's coming up and may need it. And so it's okay. What do you want to do? What do you want to
Nice.
learn? What do you? But we also do a lot of programs. I do meditation and I do some other type of workshops that teachers can always take, and then that would count as their CEUs.
Nice. So they're actually doing it. They're practicing it. They're learning
Yeah.
it. They're not just sitting online and clicking through the boxes
Right.
and stuff. So you guys are always learning. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
do you get? There's a lot of different accreditations too. I can't say this right, but Ayurvedic yoga.
Ayurveda. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
how does that come into play? What is that?
So Ayurveda, like the elevator speech you'll hear is Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga.
Hmm.
Ayurveda is an Eastern-based medicine, kind of like
Hmm.
Chinese medicine, right?
Yeah.
And it looks at the body. It looks at the body and understands, like I was saying earlier, how the intelligence of the body, and it teaches us the intelligence of the body so that we make lifestyle habits, choices, food choices that actually help the body instead of hinder the body. For instance, one of the big things is you want at least 3 hours between dinner and when you go to sleep, right? That will help your body digest your dinner better. I've had them where you go out to dinner and you're eating late and then you get home and you're tired, you go to bed and you're like, I
Yeah.
ate so much I can't sleep. So those type of things. And that we need to change our habits and lifestyle seasonally and need to eat seasonally. And so Ayurveda it is a lifestyle, but it's also a medicine because they also, if you get sick or disease, there's Ayurvedic doctors, right? I'm a health counselor, not a doctor, nor do I pretend to be one,
Hmm.
but Ayurveda
Only on
is
TV.
a full blown Eastern based medicine.
Nice. So we're gonna do a little fun round now.
Okay.
A little bit fun.
All right.
You're talking about going down the shore, doing yoga. Sunrise or sunset yoga?
Sunrise.
Really?
Yeah. I like to have my cocktails at sunset.
Okay, okay. So you're
You
not
know,
doing yoga and
taking
drinking.
the tiki bar cruise through the back bay of
That's nice. Yeah.
more of my
Not
friends.
doing yoga. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have coffee before yoga
Yes.
in the morning? You do?
I do. I do. I get up every
Okay.
morning and
Is
I
that
have,
more beneficial to wake you up to teach?
I think it's probably more of an addiction. But
Okay.
I drink, Ayurveda, this is an Ayurveda practice. Every morning I get up and I have hot water with lemon first before I have anything else. cleans out the tube, right? Gets your esophagus, your whole digestive tube going. And then I have my coffee.
Okay.
And my husband, when I was first training to be a yoga instructor, I would practice on him and he'd have his coffee and then he couldn't do it because he'd have agita, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
me, no, I can't eat breakfast, but I certainly have some coffee.
For the non-Italians, agita is not only it's what upset stomach, it's something like that, or your kids give
Heartburn.
you agita
Yeah.
too. So,
Yes.
like I gave my mom agita forever. I still give her agita. I was labeled as back in the day. With what is your? You like the cocktails and stuff like that? What is your favorite place in Bucks County to go for cocktails?
First, I would
Tricking it
say,
up. Yeah.
yeah, anything outdoors.
Okay.
So I'm interested in trying the new rooftop place in Doylestown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
That
I
that
like
looks good.
to be outdoors. I like to sit outdoors and have a cocktail and a little snack or whatever. So anywhere really. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna put you on the spot a little bit. So, what's your favorite restaurant in Quakertown?
Oh,
I know.
good question. I would say outdoor patio. I love the Brick
Hmm.
Tavern's outdoor patio. I also like Spinnerstown and McCool's. I frequent a lot of them. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Now you said Spinners. What? Okay, so there's the thing. They have a great playlist. They have great music all the time. So, what is your playlist like then? So I'll take that because that was something I was thinking about too.
Very interesting you say that. So I teach a class during the full moon, right? When there's a full moon, I
Mm-hmm.
teach what's called a moon salute class or a class it's a little different. So in the very beginning, a long time ago when I was teaching, I had a bunch of musicians in my class and they were a couple of them were my age. And they said, "You should do a class to Dark Side of the Moon." So long story short now, every full moon I teach my moon class to Dark Side of the Moon. So I would
Oh
say,
my god.
and then I get these texts, like this one student text not too long ago. She was at work and through Spotify at work, one of the songs from the Dark Side of the Moon album came on. She's like, all I heard was your voice in my head when we were doing this and doing that. And so I would say Dark Side of the Moon is probably the favorite playlist.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to sign up for that. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And in the summer, I do it in the park.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So on Wednesday nights
Nice.
I teach every Wednesday night, but during the full moon, I teach that in the park, which is really cool when you hear Pink Floyd as the sun is setting.
That's pretty awesome. That's an experience in
Yeah,
itself.
exactly.
You No one else is doing that. So
Right.
that solidifies you as
Yep,
top.
I'm the moon. And it's ironic. I'm the moon person from Moondog. That wasn't even thought through.
Yeah. Where did Moondog come from? What was
So I guess it's another shore story. When I was young, my parents' friends used to call, and my parents sometimes would call me Junie Moon, which was a nickname. It's from an old movie back in the 60s. Junie Moon kind of stuck around. And then we would be down the shore and we'd be out at night, and then all of a sudden it became Moondog. And so then Moondog stuck, and then that was the nickname when I was dating my husband he gave me. And it had been my nickname for a long time. And then when I was opening a yoga studio, I'm like, there's Up Dog, there's Down Dog, there's a yoga studio called Sun Dog, there's Flip Dog, so I was thinking maybe Moondog. So then I researched it, and it's an actual atmospheric thing. In the colder months and in the colder climates, when there's enough water in the atmosphere, the water in the atmosphere will turn to ice crystals and form a ring around the moon, and it's called a moondog. So I'm
Oh
like, there
wow.
you go. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it was
I
a
mean,
nickname, but it is a real thing.
again, from 2010 till now, you've grown so much. What do you see for Moondog in the future, next 5 years? And again, this is the corporate plan. Where do
Yeah,
you see yourself
yeah.
in
Well,
5 years?
what's really been taking off in our industry are yoga retreats.
Yeah.
So that seems to be something that has really, you didn't see many the way you see them now. So, like, I've done a retreat in Mexico, I've done a retreat in Costa Rica, I went to Italy last year. We're doing a retreat in France. I'm looking at India, all these other places. So I see yoga retreats being part of it. And then I want to do more trainings and workshops. I want to take the whole of yoga, the meditation part of it, the mantra part of it, the lifestyle, the Ayurveda part of it. And I want to teach those type of workshops and classes. So expanding out into more than just come for class. Come for a lifestyle, just come to live better generally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you obviously the class. I'm still thinking about Dark Side of the Moon class. I think
You have to come up.
you'll have to text me, hey, and then everyone will love to see me
Yes.
fall asleep during Dark Side of the Moon in the park in a full moon. So how do we find you? How can we contact you? How do we get everyone to come to Moondog?
Our website is moondogyoga.com. We're on Instagram, Moondog Yoga. Same with Facebook. You could email us through the website. You could call us. You could hit us up on the socials, but moondogyoga.com or just Moondog Yoga on any of the socials.
Awesome. And you can see the schedule of classes as well, right?
The schedule. Yep. You can see the schedule of classes. You could read about all the different types of yoga, because some types of yoga aren't for everybody, right? But there is something for everybody, whether it's just a restorative yoga, a breathing and relaxation class, or if you want to hang from the aerial silks. And we also have specialty fitness. And then we also do therapeutics, massage, Reiki, lymphatic massage, deep tissue, prenatal, because it takes all of that for us to live a healthy, de-stressed lifestyle.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, this has been a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. Again, I think that a lot of people have that same fear that I had of what is yoga. Is it intimidating? It's supposed to be, or if it's too guru-ish, it's
Right.
not. I guess it's been labeled in that stereotype for so long. But I definitely think that the way you explained everything is that it is more of healing. It is more of a balance and more just a way of life.
Yeah.
How to live a better, I guess, lifestyle.
Right.
And then breathing. And again, I've been practicing my breathing right here. Just to feel like I'm being judged. Hey, so.
Yeah. No, you know what? Being a human is hard, right? Life is beautiful and it can be brutal. Right? It's both. And so it's hard. So we have to find ways to make it, I like to say, soften the edges, right? And yoga, whatever part of the practice you choose will help soften the edges.
That's awesome. June, thank you so much for coming on.
Actually, there's a full moon on Wednesday, but I think it's not going to be in the park because it's going to be like 99 degrees.
I would say it's going to be like 110 degrees.
So
there's your hot yoga right there. I'm going to fall asleep in the park.
I'm going to put it in the studio, but in July, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to give you the July and August dates.
Yes, please.
All right. And we could go get water ice.
Yeah, listen, I'll gladly do it. And my wife will just film me and laugh the whole time. Put it on YouTube so why not? That'd be great. June, thank you so much. Again, I will definitely stop in next time and not walk by.
Not a problem.
You're right across from Charlie Barn, right? So,
yep, right across from
guys, if you're ever in Quakertown, go across the street from Charlie Barn. Go see Moondog Yoga. Check out June. She's been amazing, and I thank you so much, June.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, I'll see you next time with Bucksko Living, and have a great day. Thanks for joining the podcast today. If you want to hear more, click the link below and check out our other episodes. If you're looking to be on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me, DM me, whatever you need to do. I'd love to hear your voice. I'd love to share your stories. Have a good one.